Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday for March 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Jake Barron, Head of Operations for the Americas, and I have my amazing co-host, Henry Pena, Onboarding Specialist for Healy World here as well on the call tonight. Ken won't be on the call tonight, but we'll have him back, of course, very soon. We couldn't make it this week, so Henry and I are here to help for any questions that you may have. And I know we have a lot of regulars on the call tonight, but for those of you that might be new, this is a chat-based call. So we don't have a set agenda pretty much for this call as far as what we're going to discuss. We discuss whatever questions you put into the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those live on the call. Anything from questions about the products, the devices, how to use the app, how to get the most out of your Healy or MagHealy troubleshooting, anything like that, information about the new products that we have released over the last few months. We will certainly here to help you as well. And if for something that we can't answer and either to dig a little deeper, we will certainly do that and get back to you either during the week or next week's call as well. But go ahead, put your questions into the chat, and we will go ahead and get started. What do you think, Henry? Anything to add before we get right into it?
No. Just want to say thank you so much for everybody who is here tonight, and welcome to Tech Tuesday again. I do see that we already have a question from Deb. A very good question, because I do feel that those two in particular, like she asked, is essential oils database a subset of plant database? And I do find that usually when we mention those two, and I think because both of them kind of like came out at the same time, a lot of people kind of like associate one with the other. Well, they're actually two very different things. The essential oils is as a matter of fact, it's a module in itself. Like, you can actually go into the Heal Advisor, and you're gonna find that there's a specific module that you can purchase. You can subscribe to it, and you will have access to that particular module, which is, you have the resonance module, the aura module, the coaching module. You have the essential oils module, which also you're going to find, I believe, Jake, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you're also going to find an actual database within the resonance module for the essential oils. However, the plant database in particular, that one's just a database that is part of the resonance module. So if you're looking for that plant, the plants database, that you're gonna find it within the resonance module, the plant power database. And you can actually confirm this. Like, if you go to our shop, or Healy shop, you're gonna find that if you try to purchase the plant power database, it's gonna show that it's under the Heal Advisor Analyze Resonance module. Meanwhile, the essential oils is its own module.
Yeah, exactly. So they're separate, although they were released together at the same time, and there's some similarities between what we're doing here as far using the natural power, the information patterns of essential oils or plants, herbs, that kind of thing in general, but they are two separate. So essential oils, Henry said, it's a module. So when you log into your Analyze app, it will be, so you'll have the residence analysis, the MagHealy analysis, the residence database analysis. If you have, aura analysis, coaching module, you'll see it at the bottom of your page there. The last thing you would see there, if you do own the essential oils module, will be a separate module called essential oils. And you click on that, and it's kind of its own self-contained section where you can pick the focus and everything as well before you run this particular module. There's 101 essential oils in this database as well. Very extensive. All the most common, most popular essential oils are in this particular database. And this one is a subscription. So this one, at least in the US and Canada, it is a monthly subscription. It's $7.30 a month here in the US. So it's, I always tell people, if you're not sure, just try it for a month. It's $7. If you don't like it for whatever reason, you can just easily cancel it the next month. But I feel like you will find a lot of value in the essential oils module. I know we've had a lot of great feedback. Even some of the regulars on this call, Tech Tip Tuesday, have mentioned the sort of the relevancy and accuracy of the results here from the analysis are very high. So you'll see here $7.30 a month. If you do want to subscribe to it, you just click on the edition or the serial number of the device that you want to add it to, click subscribe now, boom, you'll check out, add your credit card, and go from there. If you want to look more on the plant power database, so this one isn't a separate module. So you'll find there's plant power database in the resonance database section. So the same area where you would find Bach flower analysis, Alaskan gem elixirs, those kind of things as well. If you do purchase it, that's where it would be located and you'd have access to. And this one is a massive database. It's from what I understand, it's our biggest database that we have. It has over 500 plants in there. So, when you're doing an analysis, it takes a couple minutes to go through it, because some of our databases are smaller. They might just have a few entries. If you're just doing it on, say, like a specific program group with 12 entries or something like that, it goes quick. When you're doing over 500, it takes quite a bit of time. So that's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with your Healy or your smartphone. It just takes time to go through the analysis when you're looking at over 500 different entries in the database here. But this one, again, this one is not a subscription. It's a one-time purchase to get access to that database. In the US, it's $182 as well, and you'll have that for life also. And of course I recommend both, but if you want to start with the essential oils and get more familiar with it, and then add plant power later as well, I think with access to over 500 plants, I think you'll find a lot of value in there as well at the $182 price point for the plant power database as well. But they're both awesome additions. There's so many programs that we have access to at Healy World, and it keeps every year there's more and more that we have access to kind of anything that you're looking for, you can find it here at Healy World, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I always tell everybody, like, since we're talking about the bioenergetic field, which is basically the foundation of everything that is energetic, which our bodies is energetic. The Healy is a multifaceted device. Any kind of bioenergetic support that you're looking for, you're gonna find something. The Healy. That's why we have so many different programs, and we're talking about frequencies here. So the possibilities and the potential it has, it truly is limitless.
Yeah, especially with essential oils. For plants, not everyone's an expert on plants, but I know we have a lot of people that are familiar with essential oils as well. And Lindley just put some great feedback into the chat about how it's brilliant and so accurate, and the results are put in a very sensitive manner. And it's great. I would say it's fun. It makes it more interactive to have the ability to see which essential oils have the highest relevancy for you right now, because a lot of us can just go and maybe you have these at home already. You might have a collection of essential oils that you have, and maybe you have some of them that come up in your top 5, or maybe there's the highest relevancy. You want to go out and purchase that one, so you can vibrate the frequencies, the information patterns associated with those essential oils, but also use it as well. So you can kind of have the physical essential oils with you, use those how you normally do, but also get the added benefit of being able to vibrate those results as well. So it's kind of it's something that you can actually hold. Of course, not the essential oils from Healy, but you can use what you have along with it, because it works well together as well as explained in the module too. So okay, let's see. Question here from Lisa says, how and where do we go to find suggested programs to run for specific topics? So great question. Henry, I know you're going to be putting together a training here over the next couple of months on the Healy Advisor search module. Is that where you would recommend someone to go for this, if they're just looking for a great sort of easy starting point here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that definitely the Healy Advisor search module will be the the best way to go about that, especially if you already know what you're trying to address. That's why I always like to make that differentiation between the Healy Visor Analyze 2 app and the Healy Visor app. The Healy Visor Analyze 2 app will do an analysis of the information field, and then based on that, it's going to tell you, hey, maybe these are programs that resonate with you at the current moment. And chances are when you read those programs, you're going to be like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I do. This is a topic that has been coming up for me lately. So again, that will give you insights of things that you may not even already know. However, if you already know a particular issue that you're struggling with or something that you want to address, then that's when the Healy Visor app really comes into, very, very useful, because you can literally just put that keyword there, whatever it is that you're having trouble with, you type it right there, you're going to get a list of recommended programs that contain frequencies that can support that particular concern that you have. And then not only that, but as I always tell everybody, if you find yourself overwhelmed with, okay, what programs to run, when to run them, how many times, that same app, Healy Visor app, specifically the Healy Visor search module, it's going to be a little magnifying glass. It's going to also create an IMF schedule, meaning a program schedule, that it's going to tell you when to run each program, and that way you can just follow that protocol. You don't need to be overwhelmed into, okay, what program should I run? You simply follow that and you stick with that, and then you just follow that protocol until you start seeing results. And then if you find that the issue that you're trying to address is already resolved, you're like, okay, this is not a priority for me anymore, then you can go ahead and focus on something else, because keep in mind that you can only focus on one topic at a time when you're using the Healy Visor search module. And yes, coming up, we do plan to incorporate training on that. So we're going to be doing an onboarding session, live onboarding sessions, and as well as we're going to also add the recording of that so you can access it there. But always keep in mind, we do have a lot of resources already available on our Healy Academy, which, we already have information about the Healy Visor Analyze 2 app, the Healy 2 app, and also that same Healy Visor search module, which would be ideal for that particular question that Lisa had in regards to, like, okay, what programs to run for specific issues, right? For specific topics.
Yeah, and you just mentioned the video from Academy. So there is one specifically on the Healy Visor search module. It's a short video. I think it's just a couple minutes long. It kind of shows in general how to put in a topic, how the highest result on the list is the one most relevant for that topic. Of course, you could pick a different one if you want, but if you go with the default, the highest program group on the list, it might be if you're looking for help with joints or something like that, you might see like mobility 28, and that's the code name for that particular program or group of programs. And then you can add that to your IMF schedule as well. Actually, on last week's Tech Tip Tuesday, Ken did a great overview, shared a screen about how to use the Healy Visor search module as well. We actually went in there, put some topics, and kind of showed how that works, how to create the IMF calendar, how to change the days that you want to get reminders on. If you want to do just have a morning and afternoon program, or if you want to have morning, afternoon, and evening, how to adjust that as well. So I'll see if I can find that link, or we can just show it on the YouTube channel here in a little bit, how to get to that. If you want to go back and reference that training that we did last week as well, which will certainly be helpful too. But
I'm gonna share I have the video right here, but I'm gonna share that exact same part. But yeah, you're more than welcome to show the YouTube video too. I'm just gonna share it here with the folks here in the chat so that they have it.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Okay, so moving on here. Great questions tonight, everyone. Appreciate all of the great topics here. So this is I would say this is a top 10 frequently asked question, Henry. So the question is, best way to understand the readings of homeopathic psych. So referring to the Creative Homeopathy psyche program. So one of our biggest databases, one of our most powerful databases, over 300 entries as well. But this is the question we always get, is the code at the end of the results that you get back. You have the relevancy, the intensity, And then we also have this code. And for most of us, it's okay, what does this mean? It could be VX2, or it could be D1, and that kind of thing as well. And in the product manuals as well, there's not like a complete decoder list, that has every single combination here. And these codes aren't anything that Healy sort of made up ourselves. So it's, as you mentioned, it's tied to traditional homeopathy. So Henry, I know you touched on this briefly in your Analyze app onboarding sessions as well. Maybe we can show people here how to, later on in the call, if we have time, show how to sign up for one of these onboarding sessions. But in your session, in this particular section, I know you kind of refer to some of the things tied to the coaching module, because then you have these codes as far as if it's subconscious or conscious as well, and if it's something that somebody's ready to address at this point in time, or what do you, when you do your onboarding on this section, what type of tips do you give people in this?
So it's important to understand that, the very first thing that we need to understand here is that when we're talking about specifically the coaching module and the aura module, we're going to have three different parameters, right? We're going to have same thing with the aura. So we're talking about aura, we're talking about coaching, we're talking about meridians module. All of those have three different parameters. Relevance means how important that particular topic is for you at the moment of the analysis, how relevant it is. You have intensity, which means how intensively can that topic be introduced to that particular user, how ready they are to process it, how ready they are to actually work on that particular issue, to acknowledge it, etc. And then lastly, we have the potencies, and that's really where things become a little more abstract, because this is what this will represent is whether it's a cause or an effect. So technically, if it's a cause, which those are going to be the potencies, those are usually the most relevant one. However, I did see that Rhonda in particular asked about the homeopathic psyche, and when we're talking about that particular database, the Creative Homeopathy database, all of that is going to be part of the resonance module. That will only include the relevance parameter. It will not include intensity. It will not include potency. So that honestly, that simplifies the process much more, because all you really need to know is that once you get those results, all you will get is a percentage. Which one is the most relevant one? You're going to get your top 5. And basically, you can assume that the higher the percentage, the more relevant is for you. And then at that point, it really just comes to reading those desired states, those present state desired states, and then go by what that says. Depending on the database that you're using, they will all contain different types of information, of recommendations. Like, for example, the I Ching one, normally, again, even though it only contains relevance, if you actually look at the contents of the database, they're usually very, very long. So again, this will vary a lot from one database to another, but just keep in mind, as long as you're using the relevance module, even if whether it's the Healy programs, the MagHealy programs, or those specific databases, right? Like I Ching, Backflower Remedies, Creative Homeopathy, anything like that, you will only be focusing on relevance, which simplifies the process of interpretation of the analysis.
Yeah, and thank you, Henry. I went straight to this questions about potencies as well, since that is a very common question. It is related to the codes essentially in traditional homeopathy. But yes, thank you for clarifying that as well, because I know. So this is one of those databases. I know a lot of people have mentioned that it when you're reading through it, it's like, whoa, how did they know this about me too? So, great feedback there as well. Just for anyone that was, I kind of went down a sort of a side note here, but I'll put the link to the video I was referring to that talks about the potencies as well. If you are interested in that as well, I'll put that right in.
No, and again, and I feel like when it comes to potencies, like, and that's one of the things that I always mention, like we do have that chart with all the different potencies. Again, you have depotencies, basically. I mean, to keep it simple, depotencies, it's a cause. C potencies are an effect, and then LM can be a cause or an effect. Now, D and C are going to be on the foreground, meaning they tend to be more tangible, they tend to be more obvious in your life. Those LM potencies tend to be the ones that are less relevant because they're in the background too, so they tend to show up less. And then next to those potencies, whenever you do one of those analyses I mentioned, whether it's R, the coaching meridian, those potencies will always have a number next to it. And the lower the number, the more tangible it's going to be the topic, because chances are it has already manifested in your life. So you will probably be able to say, hey, you know what? This is something that has been coming up for me because it has already manifested in your life. The higher the number, including those exponential values sometimes that you will get, for example, 1 and then the letter E and then a long number that usually means exponential value. The higher that value is, the less chance that it has manifested in your life. So rule of thumb is focusing on D and C's for the most part, D being effects, D being the cause, C being effect, and then really low numbers next to that, like 5, 10, 12, 20, anything like that.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Henry.
Of course.
Okay, great question here from Dory. So Dory has a custom-made MagHealy program. Very cool. I don't even have a custom-made MagHealy program. So basically, custom-made expert program for the MagHealy that runs for 4 hours. Okay, so it runs it at night when she sleeps. Sometimes in the morning, the light is on, and sometimes it is off. Why? So, Henry, this kind of fits right into some of the shorts videos you've been making recently on the MagHealy, charging tips, battery behavior, and that kind of thing too. So if normally it gets through the night, and when you're referring to the light, are you referring to the, if it's sitting on the charger, the power light, or are you referring to both lights are active as far as it's connected and running via Bluetooth? Maybe just clarify quickly in the chat. But what, just before that, what in general could be the difference between it being able to run overnight versus not? Like my first thought is that when it started, maybe the charging level was different when the program was started, when the night began, because even though it's on the charger, it doesn't mean it can last throughout the whole night, depending on the intensity that it's at. And what other ideas do you have here as far as what could be going on here?
So I would honestly, as you mentioned, it will really depend on the light. And I see that we have more comments, so I don't know if they clarify.
Okay.
It's not on the charger and it's not dead in the morning.
Okay.
It's not on the charger. So the MagHealy is not on the charging and it's not dead in the morning. So if the light is on, right, something that may happen, again, we're talking about different lights. The MagHealy has actually has like multiple lights. You have the light in the charger, you have the green light on the MagHealy, the blue light on the MagHealy, and then also the ring lights that go around. So it really depends on the light that we're talking about. If we're talking about the green light, there is a chance that if you keep your phone connected to the MagHealy, that connection that is established between your phone and your MagHealy, it may already, even after those 4 hours, your phone may still be connected to the MagHealy, which may keep some of those lights on. Green light, middle position, phone is not connected. Okay, green light in the middle position. So okay, got it. So the green light on the with the MagHealy placed on the center. Now, is the green light blinking or is the green light solid? Because that would be really the other thing to consider. Because normally what would happen is that green light should only be blinking when the program is actively running. There really isn't a reason why the green light, as long as the MagHealy is off the charger, that green light should technically turn off after 4 hours if the program is actually 4 hours long. Got it.
Okay, so yeah, maybe this is what we'll follow up upon next week as well, once we have those details too. But yeah, as Henry mentioned, that's a key sort of question there as well. But yeah, that's a good one. Actually not had anyone in the 3 years or so that MagHealy's been out asked that one before. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so next question here from Deb says, can someone run a Healy program and a MagHealy program concurrently? Will it be too much microcurrent for the body? So again, great questions here tonight, everyone. Appreciate it. So when you're running a Healy, we talk about this quite a bit, the ability to, there's different combinations, right? All the Healy products can be used together to enhance the overall benefit. So designed to sort of enhance each other. So if you have a MagHealy running at the same time as a Healy, sometimes those benefits and everything can be amplified there as well. But the key here is to not overdo it. As you mentioned, make sure it's not too much for the body. So, but when we're talking about the MagHealy and Healy, we're not talking about too much microcurrent. We might be talking about too much sort of frequencies or powers or everything energy in general, because the only way you're getting microcurrent is using the electrodes with the Healy device. When you're using the MagHealy, it's a different method. So even if you have the MagHealy on you, on the outside, like I say, in your shirt or something like that, it's not actually delivering microcurrent there. You're getting the quantum analyzed frequencies via magnetic fields. So it's a different way, but yeah, so this is something where if you want to experiment with running maybe two similar type programs, Ken talks about this a lot, when he's doing a workout or something. Now, a lot of times he'll talk about running a program with the coil at the same time as a program with microcurrent. But similar type conversation here when we're talking running a MagHealy program with a Healy program at the same time. I know a lot of people like to run a MagHealy atmosphere program at the same time that they're running a Healy program with the electrodes to get the benefits of microcurrent as well. But the biggest thing really is, there's not a one answer for everybody in this particular case. It's important to go slow. Don't overdo it on the intensity as well. If you've never run two different programs at the same time, you certainly want to start as low as possible on the intensity. And then if there's any sort of discomfort, anything unusual, just stop or lower the intensity as well. Make sure you listen to your body too. So, if you're wanting to try this, maybe do an atmosphere program and then run something similar, a program with microcurrent with the Healy as well, and kind of see how things go. And then you can experiment from there. Maybe you want to run a program with a coil and a Healy as well at the same time. It's just, for what's okay for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's okay for the other person. Especially some people are much more sensitive to microcurrent and energy in general as well. But Henry, anything to add to that in your experience as far as sort of wanting to combine? Because that's to me is one of the biggest things, because there's so many programs that we have access to, and you can't run them all in one day. So a lot of people like to stack them essentially as well. It's just something you want to be careful with as far as not overdoing it. But
Yeah, I think I would say probably this. I think Ken would probably go in the same line of this. What I'm going to say, which is listen to your body. Listen to your
yeah,
body. You want to listen to your body because everybody's going to be different. Just keep in mind, as Jake said, you're not really going to be applying too much microcurrent. You're talking about microcurrent when you use cables. When we're talking about MagHealy, same as when we're talking about the Healy Coil, we're talking about like electromagnetic fields, which is a very gentle type of application. So again, I would find it very hard to honestly to overdo it if you're using both the MagHealy and the Healy, especially if you're not running like a bunch of multiple programs in the same day. Just listen to your body, see how you feel. If you feel comfortable with that, then you're more than welcome to continue. But yeah, just listen to your body, pay attention to the way your body is reacting, and I'm sure that's really going to be always the best indicator.
yeah, and we say a lot on this call. Less is more, especially with microcurrent as well. A lot of people like to crank it up all the way, and not knowing that it's not a good idea to have feel the tingling and sensation from the microcurrent, because then your body's pushing back against this sensation. You kind of want to let it work in the background without any sort of noticeable effect there. So as long as you don't have the message, frequencies generated, but no currents flowing. So no currents flowing. So that's something you want to be looking out for. But less is more. Start at a lower intensity, and especially if you're going to do two at once. I know it would probably be a good idea to make sure you take a couple hours off after that to properly hydrate, drink water during the session, drink water after the session, do a little bit of grounding as well to help your body properly absorb everything that it just got. But yeah, it's not sort of a one-off answer for everybody, but feel free to experiment as well, and let us know on this call on future episodes. Certainly reach back out if there's any other questions related to this as well. But yeah, just Henry said, listen to your body, and go slow. Okay, what else we got here? So the Lisa question, I think that was that related to the link you put into the chat here about from last week's Tech Tip Tuesday, I think. Says, can you show me? I think she was, Lisa, I think you were referring right to the
I think
last week, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, search module.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the only one left, I believe, I don't think we're missing anything else from the chat. I think it's the one that last one from Rhonda. She said, this may be a silly question. For animals, can you only run through the animal program? And there's no silly questions here, by the way. And then she said, asking as I thought someone said you can use regular programs. I may have misheard. And yeah, I mean, technically you can use regular programs with animals. The main difference is that the animal programs are specifically tailored to be used with animals. So even though you can, for example, use the Healy Coil, if you're gonna run an animal, I mean, some people do prefer to use the animal kit, for example, or even other types of application with like the electrodes and stuff. But I mean, normally animals have a lot of fur, so it's gonna be hard for the most part, to use cables or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we're talking about frequencies. That's really what we're trying to send to the body, right? Whether it's a human or an animal. Now, when it comes to those frequencies and the ones that are specifically sent for animals, there is the animal programs. Those specific frequencies are great for animals. Those would be the ones that we will recommend to use with animals. But yes, there is definitely people who use programs like the Gold Cycle programs and other programs on animals. But I would honestly recommend, for the most part, to use the animal programs. Those are really going to be the ones that have the more tailored approach towards animals.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Those, if you have access to those, definitely take advantage of them because of the way that they were specifically designed. But when Healy first launched, there was no animal program group, no animal kit as well. So, and I know a lot of people have had a lot of success just because when you're putting a new person or thing into the Analyze app, you pick the category, you pick a person, you can pick a pet, you can pick a building, you can pick whatever the case may be. So I know a lot of people just have their dog or the cat or their horse or whatever in there, and then they'll do an analysis as well, and they might do an analysis just for the animal programs, but they might also do other times analysis just for all Healy program groups to see what is the most relevant at that particular time. So yeah, if you have the animal program group, great. Definitely incorporate that on a regular basis, but you can also, if you want to, use other programs as well. But the biggest thing with any using this with any animals is to, as we just talked about before, we can't listen to, the animal can't really, in general, give us feedback, but pay attention to their behavior as well. When you're using microcurrent, it's very important to keep it at the lowest intensity possible. If you're using, say, like the animal kit or something like that as well. And even the coil too, for some pets it's easier for them to pick up on these things also. So if you start running a program and your dog or cat run away, okay, maybe it's not the best time to use this, but there's so many success stories with pets, you see the pictures of them curled up around the coil or by the MagHealy, like that's obviously a good sign. They're, falling asleep surrounding this amazing device that we have too. Okay. Okay, a couple more questions came in. So from the other one from Dory says, is there anything that blocks MagHealy frequencies from reaching you, like types of fabric? So as long as the fabric's not metallic, that would be really the only thing. You're not wearing like some sort of metallic jumpsuit or something like that. But yeah, it's perfectly fine to have it. A lot of people might carry it in like some sort of bag, a crossbody bag. Like we have some promos recently where you could earn a crossbody bag, and it's perfectly fine to keep it in that bag, strapped around your shoulders or something like that. It's not gonna your regular clothing isn't gonna stop that magnetic field at all. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a really good way to put it is kind of like when you have something like Wi-Fi or you have something like Bluetooth, regardless
Yeah.
of the type of clothes that you have, the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi will not be interrupted. We're talking about electromagnetic fields. Same thing, we're talking about the MagHealy, we're also talking about electromagnetic fields. They usually have a good range and they usually are able to easily get past
Yeah.
objects. So you won't really have any sort of issue with that.
Yep. Great question though. Okay, got another one here from Lisa. It says, does Healy periodically add free Healy programs for us? So actually, yeah. It's not like a set schedule on this, but Marcus Schmika, the founder and inventor of Healy World and the technology that we're using here, he's always developing new programs, and this is kind of how some of the ones in the past came to be. You notice that everybody that has even the gold cycle program edition has access to a program group. Right, Henry, you did a Healy Shorts video on this as well. The three programs that are available to everybody, and those all started out as free programs that were added and then made available to everybody with a Healy, right?
Yeah, absolutely, including that is it the
Cosmic Growth was the
cosmic
newest
growth?
one, which was
Yeah.
awesome. All the programs there are based off the Fibonacci sequence, which is a very, very cool. There's some great videos in the Healy World official channel about that, some commercial videos on that. And we also have Coherence. I think Coherence is one of our most popular programs ever as well, as far as how often that one is used. And then what's the first one? Do you remember, Henry? There's three in that program group. It's
Bioenergetic boost.
yes, okay. So yeah, so those do we add programs periodically? Sure. It just you never know when the next one's going to come out as well. But yeah.
We also constantly, like whenever we use, I mean, there are many times where we add new databases to the Healy Analyze 2 app, and usually some of those are also included for pretty much anybody who has a Healy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do need to purchase them separately, like with the plant power database, but many times we just allow you to have them. Let's see. All right, so this is a question by Deb. She said, MagHealy Water. If the device is placed on a container of water, then the intensity can be set to as low as 30 and 40% since the distance between the device and the water is so near. Please advise. My understanding is that the intensity is increased for a MagHealy. It's for further distance reach. So once again, when it comes to the MagHealy and the intensity that we're using will completely depend on the individual. However, so let's say you have somebody who may be very sensitive to these electromagnetic fields, they're going to have to use a lower intensity. If you have someone who may not be that sensitive, they can set it, depending even all the way to 100. However, keep in mind, specifically when we're talking about MagHealy, the actual manual of the MagHealy has it offers not only the durations of the programs, but it offers the recommended intensity for each program. And if you actually go to the MagHealy Water Application programs, which are all of the programs that have to do with water harmonization, you're going to see that the recommended intensity for all of those programs is 100%. So it doesn't really matter whether the MagHealy is far away or not. The best resource is always going to be the manual for the intensity of the programs, which not always is going to be 100. Like some of them, like if you go to the MagHealy Classic applications, you see that it offers a range. Some of them are between 5 and 15%. Some of them are between 20 and 50, 70 and 100. But when it comes to the water, what you want to do is keep the MagHealy close to the water and set it to 100%. That is a recommended intensity for all MagHealy water programs.
Yeah, sorry, here's what Henry was referring to there. So this is page 6 in the MagHealy manual. See the water application, all of them are at 100%. You know, these are fun to use because they only take 10 minutes. You know, you put it on your water, 10 minutes later, boom, you have your water infused with quantum analyzed frequencies, which is another unique thing about Healy World, and specifically the MagHealy too. So, I mean, is there some benefit if you just did it at 30 to 40%? Sure, like it's not like it doesn't do anything, but you know, unless your battery is about to die or something like that, you want to be able to finish those 10 minutes, you know, go ahead and set it at that 100% intensity when you're talking about running any of the water application programs. Okay, what else we got here? No, there's a comment from Dory. It says, I wrap up my MagHealy at night to block the light. Yeah, so I know some people do that over time. The intensity or the brightness of the lights has been, through recent firmware, made a little bit less intense. But yeah, of course, there's still the flashing light during use. So I know a lot of people like to put like a light cloth or something over it. Just keep in mind, you don't want something that's too constricting as well, because as far as making sure the MagHealy is not in a confined environment where it can't sort of release any sort of heat there as well. But if you're just putting like a light sheet or shirt or towel or something over that, should be okay.
Yeah. Or even put some sort of like, maybe like, you know, some sort of sticker or anything like that on top of the actual lights. That way you don't need to cover the full MagHealy. Because yeah, as long as it's set to position 2, the ring around the MagHealy will not be lighting up. So you would only really need, at that point, let's say you start the program, you make sure you set the intensity you want, and then you fully close the app. At that point, the only light that should technically be blinking is going to be the green light on top of the MagHealy, slowly blinking, blinking, blinking. So at that point, since it's only the green light, my recommendation is just to add maybe a little piece of tape or something and just put it there. You don't need to look at it. You don't really need to know that that green light is on, because you can always just confirm that your program is running with the app. You confirm it's running. Okay, it's running. You close the app and then you forget about it.
Yeah. Great tips. Okay.
So I do see that we have another question from Rhonda. When is it the best time to run the vibration, for instance, with the homeopathic psyche? Is it okay to just run a vibration daily on the top 5? I need to learn more about the vibration usage. So that's also part of one of the things that we go over on that Healy Advisor Analyze to App training that we offer from Healy Onboarding. Now, we do have some videos on the Academy that go over this, but just so you know, Rhonda, so when it comes to the vibrations, it works similar to the way manifestations work, because you're going to see that a lot of these databases and a lot of these modules, when we're talking about the positive vibrational information, that vibrate option that you get on the app, it will always, for the most part, give you affirmations. And just like with manifestation exercises, you want to read these affirmations multiple times a day. It's not really something that you just do once and then forget about it, or you do it once a week or anything like that. No, you want to start creating these new habits, these new beliefs, these positive thought patterns. And the way you do that is through repetition. So usually what we recommend is that you run vibrations. The rule of thumb is short times, multiple times a day. As short as 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. And then when I say multiple times, anywhere between 2 to 8 times a day. If you cannot do it 8 times a day, if 8 times a day is too much, which can be a lot, right? I usually recommend an average of 5 times a day if you can. And if not, try to do it as many times as you can, even if that's 3, even if that's 2, even if that's only 1. If once a day is all you can do, it's better than not doing anything at all. The key thing is consistency. So you want to make sure that you're doing it, trying to do this every day, so you remind yourself of these new patterns, these new beliefs that you're creating for yourself, because that's ultimately what's going to allow that information in your subconscious mind to go to your conscious mind. You start making those changes, and then eventually you're going to see your reality changing too.
Yep, great points there, Henry. And I just wanted to also just expand on that just for a second. You know, when you mentioned you wanting to learn more about the vibration usage, I just want to be careful or just point out. So when you're talking about running the vibration daily on the top 5, I just want to be sure that you're not doing a new analysis every single day on the same database. So when you're referring to running it each day, and when Henry said running it multiple times per day for short periods of time, just to make sure that you're going back and picking that last analysis and running those results over and over again for a period of time, whether it's a few days or weeks until you sort of see results, rather than each day running a new analysis one which has new results and then kind of starting over. But give yourself time with the same list as well over a more extended period of time.
Yeah, so remember that you need to go to the history tab. That's how you're going to be able to access your previous analysis, and then you would run that vibration.
Yep.
I do see that. Just want to make sure I want to answer this one, even though there's one before, but I want to answer this one because it's about the same things. So he said, I ran the aura scan yesterday for the first time in quite a while, and it looks very different. Is there supposed to be a vibration option? So Dory, yes, there is supposed to be a vibration option. It's just not, it will not show up immediately. You would first start the aura analysis. It does a very general type of analysis that it's going to tell you the different chakras and their energy levels. And then after that, you're going to get an option to do a deeper analysis on the weaker chakras. You do get the option to select all chakras or only the weaker ones, but for by default, it's only going to be the weaker ones. Once you do that deeper analysis, that's when you're going to be getting your present state and your desired state, as well as the option to vibrate those affirmations at the very bottom. If you are having trouble figuring that out, we do have videos of that on the Healy Academy, and the onboarding that we do. Again, you're more than welcome to sign up for the Healy Advisor Analyze 2 app onboarding, but there's also a recording of that full session that we normally do live. There is one available on our YouTube channel where I actually talk about the aura module, and I demonstrate how to do a full aura analysis, how to interpret the results, how to do the vibration, and all of that right there on our YouTube channel.
Yep, exactly. And I'll put a link here in just a second to the aura analysis training, which is very in depth too from Academy. It shows everything, how everything looks, of course, in the Analyze 2 app, which is quite a bit different than it used to look in the past from the old Analyze app. But I think it's there's much more information there. It looks a little bit more. There's a little bit more user friendly as well too. So I'll put that here in just a second.
Yeah, and I think, Jake, it would be nice. I know you said you were gonna show a little bit of our YouTube channel at some point. I think it would be nice before we end the call to have some time to just quickly show them, because since we have talked a lot about the Healy Advisor Analyze 2 app today, I think it would be nice to show how to access that particular training for the
Yeah,
for the
good
Healy
point.
database to app. Let me see what else. What other questions we have here?
We had a question right above there from Lisa. It says, when utilizing the wristbands, if they irritate the bare skin, can you place them on the wrist on top of a thin sleeve? So you're not, if it's any sort of cloth material, you're not going to get the conductivity. You won't be getting the well, sorry. You'll see the message on your screen that a frequency is generated and a measurable current is flowing there as well if you put it over your sleeve. So if you're looking to get the most benefits from microcurrent, you're going to want to make sure that's actually touching your skin to have the proper conductivity there. I wonder, if it's irritating the bare skin. A lot of people have the skin might be a little bit thinner or something on the wrist. You could try putting it a little bit further up on the arm as well. A lot of people like to do that because maybe their wrists are thinner. There's less meat basically on your body there, and it's harder to get a connection. So a lot of people do maybe move them up an inch or two, so there's easier to get that proper connection there. Maybe it's not as sensitive there either. So that's one thing that you could try. Or, if you're wanting to make sure you get the benefit of microcurrent and you can't use the wristbands, you can always just use the adhesive electrodes as well in a different area that's less sensitive too.
Yeah. And I think that as a last step would be to consider, if it's something that you are interested in the Healy Coil, because the Healy Coil, remember, it's a very gentle application for anybody who is either very sensitive to the feeling of the microcurrents or anybody who may be sensitive to the actual sensation of the wristbands on the wrist or the adhesive electrodes, or anybody who is looking for more of that wireless experience that you don't have to basically deal with the cables. So that's always an option. We do like to have multiple options for everybody depending on their preferences.
Great question there, Lisa. Appreciate that one too. Okay. Okay. Great question here, Deb. So Deb, when you're running the Analyze app, all Healy programs, so it's looking at all the different program groups, and then the expanded programs for the top 5 are less than 52%. But when I scan the other programs, I think I like to run, it can show it's a higher intensity, like above 60%. So this is a great question, because when you're doing all Healy program groups, it's looking at all Healy program groups. Out of all of them, which one is the most relevant for you? And you're going to see the results. Say your top one's 52%, and then let's just say that you pick that top group. Let's just say it's I don't know, fitness or something like that, and then you run an analysis, a second analysis after that, just on the fitness group to determine of the programs in fitness, which one is the most relevant for you. You might not get one that's above 52% when you're doing the analysis just on fitness, because then it's taking just that specific database or specific program group out of those programs and ranking them based on relevancy. So just because the overall relevance of the group was the highest doesn't mean that when you do the second analysis just of that particular program group that you're going to see the same or a higher number in there that you got from the general analysis too. So it could be that the general analysis 52% was the highest, and then you go to the gold cycle program group, and then you do an analysis and pure comes up at 70%. That doesn't mean that that program group should have been the most relevant for you when you did the all programs. It's just saying, okay, now that we've narrowed this down just to the gold programs, out of those, this one stands out the most as you needing it more than the other one. So you can't really compare the relevancies when you're looking at all Healy programs versus just one individual program group there. Okay. what do we got here? So we got a question on, can you direct me to where I can find info on how TAN works? So we're talking expert programs here too. This is a great question as well. So let me actually, probably the best way, I'll put a link in the chat, but the best way to find this out, there's a video in Healy Academy on how to use the expert program area, which will probably be the easiest. Oh, I just realized we're almost done with the call here. So let me
Yeah, it was
put that
fast.
link into the chat, and we'll show something on the YouTube channel real quick before we close it. Since we started a couple minutes late, we'll just show that. But let me go ahead and put the link into the chat for, hold on a second here. Gotta find it real quick. But yeah, the expert program, once you sort of realize where it is and how it works, it's pretty simple to use as far as getting the TAN for.
And before we move forward, I do want to just expand on what Deb asked, because I do think it's a very interesting question. And I just want you to keep in mind, Deb, that normally when you see a low percentage, even in your top 5 programs and the top 5 recommended databases, right, from those programs, what that usually means is that if you get a relatively low to medium percentage, that means that your bioenergetic field already is pretty balanced. So like the resonance of those particular programs with your bioenergetic field based on the analysis of the information field shows that for the most part there is not a sense of urgency, right? There is no 90%, 95% that tells you what you really need this. It's simply saying, hey, you know what, this is something that could benefit you, it's resonating with you, but it's nothing that requires a sense of, you really need this. So just something to keep in mind. And I also saw that there was a question about the I don't think you have answered this one, right, Jake, about the coil and the microcurrents?
No.
So for the most part, the biggest difference between using the coil and microcurrents, remember, microcurrent offer additional benefits, these are going to be increased ATP production, amino acid transport, and protein synthesis. This basically translate to higher levels of energy. So and regeneration, right? Faster regeneration. So if this is something that you're interested in, then you're more than welcome to use the cable. Then remember that is a specific benefits from microcurrent. The other benefits of microcurrent is that when we're talking about the pain and simulation programs, as well as the acute programs, these are the programs that you will use with the adhesive electrodes on a specific parts of the body when you're trying to address specific probably areas of pain or discomfort. Those programs are designed to be used specifically with the cables via microcurrent with the adhesive electrodes on that affected area. Those programs are not designed to be used with a coil. You will know this because if you go and try to run them on the Healy 2 app, it will tell you, it will not mention the coil. So those are really the main differences between the coil and the cables. The coil does have the advantage of a more gentle application and being able to be used wirelessly. But again, when the cables are still the default and main method of application of Healy, because it does allow you to use it with every single program and obtain the full benefits of the frequencies.
Awesome. Thank you, Henry. And just before we close the call, quick, we can't have an episode of Tech Tip Tuesday without showing our Healy World America. Actually, I'm so used to saying Healy World America's YouTube channel. It is now the Healy World Learning Hub, as we discussed and we announced on Frequencies and Friends earlier this week. But you'll see there, it's got a new look, a new name. You can still get to it by going to HealyAmericas.com. But now you can also get to it by going to HealyLearningHub.com. And we're turning this into a global resource. So you'll see we'll still have Tech Tip Tuesdays, Frequencies and Friends, and that kind of thing here. All the shorts videos that Henry does an awesome job creating are all here as well. But you'll see additional resources, like there's a series of masterclass videos with Martin Whitman, our Chief Product Officer. And some of these will be in different languages. You'll be able to use captions for a lot of them if you want to, but this particular one is an OR analysis training in German. There was one added last week on the information field that's actually in English from Martin Whitman, which was very cool as well. So that's available to everybody. And then you'll see, Henry, you just added this yesterday, right? The newest onboarding session for Healy, a recorded version of what Henry does on pretty much a daily basis here. This one is in Spanish. Just kind of get started with your Healy device as well. And then if you want to just kind of find these a little bit easier, if you go to the playlist section, you'll see, okay, if I want to go see all the recordings that Henry did of the onboarding sessions, you click view full playlist, and you'll see, so we have English versions of the Analyze app training and getting started with the Healy device, and there's a Spanish version of getting started with your Healy device. And of course, more will be added to this particular section, but you can also, all the different quick tips are available here. And then if you look at the master class, you'll see what I was talking about. There's one in English on the fundamentals of the information field. So available to everybody, and we're gonna turn this into an even better resource over time. So check it out when you get a chance, and stay tuned for more. So, but yeah, we're a couple minutes over. Anything to add, Henry, before we go?
No, just since again it looks like this particular session tonight was very focused on the Healy Analyze 2 app. So a reminder that session, that recorded session on the Healy onboarding playlist, the unlocking the power of the Healy Analyze 2 app. That's the one that you want to check out if you have questions about the analysis of the parameters, how to access specific databases, how to, how long the vibration should be, all of that. I try my best to answer all of those questions in that stream. They're going to have timestamps, so you can just go to the section that you're interested in exploring. So you're welcome to go ahead and do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this week's Tech Tip Tuesday. Thank you so much, Henry, for being here. A lot of fun tonight. A lot of great questions, everyone. And this recording will be available on the Healy World Learning Hub that we just showed you. Should be in the next day or two. You'll see it up there as well, so you can go back and reference anything that we discussed. If you want to save anything that was put into the chat today, if you go to the chat section, you'll see 3 dots near the meeting name, and you'll have a save chat option if you're on a desktop or laptop as well. I don't think it's available on phones right now to save the chat, but go ahead and do that. And yeah, we hope to see you all next week as well for our next edition of Tech Tip Tuesday. So have a great night, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.